big setup. How much are we going to make on VERI? How much are we going to make on this? How much did I make last week or last month? But how often we focus on what we're doing poorly? How often we focus on our losses? You know, I think our losses can be a great tool to help us create some rules. I think our losses, can help us study and say, hey, this is what I don't want to do again. This is what I don't want to do in the future. You know, the thing about trading, it's a very tough profession. I think the stats are something like 90 to 95% of traders fail. And why do they fail? They don't fail because of a lack of winning setups or lack of wins. They fail because of their losses. They fail because they just take too many losses too frequently, or just that one big loss. I mean, that's the thing in the market. One loss can wipe you out and end your career. That's where a good set of rules can either make you or break you for the long haul. Now, trading can be a difficult profession. For that, we sit in front of our computers all day long, and we feel unproductive if we're not always in a trade or pushing buttons. You know, we follow traders on Twitter who tweet a new idea or ticker every 35 seconds, and we say, hey, that guy trades 80 to 90 tickers a day. I need to do the same thing. No, I think that's BS. I think you should not do the same thing. I think you need to stick with your high probability setups. The setups you know you're going to be profitable on, I'd say at least 75, 80, hopefully 90% of the time. Now, sometimes it can be hard to sit on your hands and be patient and wait for those setups. But why chase subpar setups? You know, why chase boredom trades? Why put good money after bad? Now, how many of us here of traders have followed a chat room, a Twitter, or a friend into an idea that we knew was not a high probability setup for our own trading style? Now, we all have different trading styles here. What works for you may not work for me. Personally, I'm a terrible long bias trader. If and when I ever do go long, I take profits extremely fast, knowing that a lot of times profits can just get away from me pretty quick. I don't have the patience nor the conviction, you know, to hold them. That's why month after month, year after year, I personally get more strict about the trades that I place. I probably place half the amount of trades I did maybe just 5 years ago, but I make way more money. Why? Because I trade the high probability setups that I know I'm going to be profitable in 80 to 90% of the time. I like to use size with those trades, and I have very strict rules when it comes to cutting losses. Now, I'm sure most of us as traders have rules, or at least we should. How many of us use stops? I mean, stops are a must. I mean, we all have to use stops. Now, I personally rarely use hard stops, but I have mental stops on every position that I take. Basically, if something's breaking support or resistance, I usually just exit that trade. And I think most of us here need to have a mental idea in our head of where we're going to exit a trade based on where it goes against us. How many of us here have ever been in a losing trade and we're down something small, maybe $5,000, and we think, I'm not going to cut it. You know, I feel like this is going to be a winner, and we add to that trade. An hour later, we're down $20,000 to $30,000, and we think, wow, it's hard to, I can't cut it now. We hold it till the afternoon. Maybe tomorrow it gaps up, we're down $70,000, $80,000, $100,000, and we think, what the heck just happened? I mean, I could have cut that loss yesterday for $3, $4, $5 grand. Now I've given up 10, maybe 20% of my year just by being stubborn. Think about how much more money we could make at the end of the year if we just stick to some simple rules and cut our losses at an appropriate place. Now, for me personally, I very rarely enter a trade, unless it's with starter size, something really small, unless I know I'm going to be in the money immediately. You know, I ask the question, why would you ever enter a trade knowing it's going to go against you, and you say, well, I'll just add higher? I mean, why would you ever want to do that? You know, I personally like to be right on my first entry, and if I'm not, I cut it, and I look for a re-entry. You know, the last thing I want to do, again, is be stubborn, refuse to cut a loss, add to losers, and before you know it, you've given up 10, 20, maybe 30% of your year on any particular setup. I see so many traders that can consistently make money month after month after month, only at the end of the year realize they were stubborn on 3 to 4 tickers, and they gave up, maybe 20 to 30% of the year. Now, let's talk about being stubborn for a minute. Why is it that we refuse to cut losses? Is it that sometimes we refuse to be wrong? Or has the research we've done on any particular stock made us so overly biased that we think the market is wrong and we are right? Or did we possibly take on too much size overnight on a low float stock that's opened dramatically against us? There's numerous reasons we take losses in the market, and a majority of them are our fault. We can say, well, Dries was manipulated when it went from 5 to 115. Or, KBIO was a fluke when Shkreli bought it and went from 2 to, you know what, 40s within a couple days. And those are true. I mean, drives was manipulated, but at the end of the day, nobody forced us to hold drives. You know, from 40 to 60 to 80 to 100. Nobody forced us to hold KBIO. Some people added after hours. Some people added the net, you know, a few days later. You know, I think at the end of the day, our losses are you know, they're basically our fault. I mean, sure, there can be unexpected news or events, but at the end of the day, I think it's our stubbornness that leads to some of our biggest losses. Now, I personally have a lot of rules in my trading. I've already went over a couple of them. Most of them are just ingrained in my head. I know I'm just like walking, talking, eating, and sleeping. I don't even have to think about them. But I'll go over quick, you know, a couple of my top rules again real quick. I like to trade the best setups out there. Setups that I know I'm going to be profitable on 80 to 90% of the time. And I like to use size with those setups. You know, I ask a question. If you see a setup and you say, hey, 9 out of 10 times I'm going to make money on this setup, why would you not want to put big money behind that trade? You know, why would you not want to? I think the risk reward is definitely on your side there. I think, you know, for me personally, the big money's in the big wins. I'm not going to get rich scalping. It's just not for me. And I certainly know I'm not going to lose money on boredom trades because I just don't play them. You know, if the setup's not there, I sit on my hands. If not, I'll just leave for the day. I never feel forced to trade. Second, never, ever add to losing trades. You know, there's a reason the trade is going against you. You're wrong. I mean, it's all there is to say. You need to exit that trade and look for a re-entry. And don't ever say to yourself, it can't go higher. I mean, it can't go higher or it can't go lower. For anybody that says it can't go higher, put a chart of drives next to your computer from last November. For anybody that says it can't go lower, put a chart of drives next to your computer from, you know, November 15th to, you know, a few weeks ago. It's down 99.99%. You know, there's a prominent hedge fund manager out there a few years ago that was bullish on Valiant. He was bullish in the 200s, bullish at 180, bullish at 150, bullish at 100, bullish at 80, 60, 40, 20. I think he finally sold at $10 or $15. Why? I mean, it's just stubbornness. And that's all it is to it. It's just stubbornness, in my opinion. Third, take profits on winning trades. You know, I always scale out of positions. Let's say I'm short 50,000 shares of a position and it's reached maybe 70% of my target. I like to take at least a third off right there. Always locks them in. Falls another 10, 15, 20 cents, take another 10, 15,000 shares off, whatever it is. Don't ever try to be so stubborn to try to pick the exact tops or bottoms. Another one is always trade with a free and clear mind. You know, I've noticed that if I don't sleep well, maybe had a traumatic event in your family, whatever it is, it's just best not to trade. And don't ever trade if you feel obligated or forced to make money. You know, if you had a big loss last week, don't ever revenge trade. You know, you really have to have a free and clear mind to trade in the markets. The biggest one of all, and lastly, is cut losses, cut losses, cut losses. You know, I think as traders, if we can create a good list of rules with strict stop loss management, I think at the end of the day, we can become more profitable traders. Thank you.
A heart surgeon wakes up.
Okay. Traders, what is good? What is good? I hope everyone is healthy, wealthy, and wise, man. I know I'm feeling good. I know I'm excited for this trading week. Now, guys, if you can hear me, you can see me. Let me get a 111 in the chat. Let's make sure everything's working. Make sure we've got no technical difficulties. Okay. Sheesh. I'm excited, man. So I'm about to make some money. Now, of course, guys, quick disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. Past profits do not guarantee future results. Any trade you take, your capital is literally at risk. So what I wanted to do, guys, obviously with that audio we just started with, I wanted to start off getting you guys in the right mindset, because if your mentality is not correct, if you're not trading from a free and clear state of mind, and I'll show you guys the audio that we just had. If you're not trading from a clear and free state of mind, it doesn't matter how good your technical analysis will be, you're never going to get profitability in the market. So before we even look into the charts, we need to make sure our mind's right. We need to make sure we're in an abundant state of mind and realize that you don't have to be in a trade every single day, right? You don't have to win every single trade. Like, I took 2 trades this week. I took 1 trade, hit stop loss. I took another trade, went up to a 1 to 10 risk to reward. It covered it back. So don't feel like you have to be in a trade every minute of every day. Don't feel like you have to win every single trade. And I want to get you guys in the right mindset, man, because again, you can stare at charts all day long. You can have all the markups in the world, but again, unless your mind's right, unless your psychology's right, then hey, it doesn't even matter. So let's start looking at the news for this week. Let's see if what kind of high impact news, low impact news we're going to see this week. Now, this website is forexfactory.com. You can just come on it. It's completely free. And the reason I look at this is not to, I don't like, okay, when I look at news, I don't look at, okay, what's the result of this news going to be? I just look at it to see where liquidity is going to be. So for example, obviously starting off on Monday, nothing too real impactful, maybe a slow Monday. Tuesday, we've got some pound news on the, okay, so we expect some liquidity on GBP pairs coming on Tuesday. Again, Wednesday, we've got some more liquidity coming on pound pairs as well, so expect some big moves on pound, especially dollar as well, coming up on Wednesday. It's gonna be very interesting, especially when the Fed Chair Powell speaks, which has happened on Wednesday. Like I'll show you, there's a lot of liquidity in the market. Now, again, news is just an excuse for liquidity. The market is going to go where it's going to go, due to obviously smart money, due to supply and demand. So don't worry about reading into the fundamentals too much. Just make sure you're aware of what's going on, making sure that your trades are managed correctly, and obviously you're aware of certain levels of supply and demand in the market. So again, we've got a lot of liquidity on pound this week. A lot of big moves coming. Where we'll have a look at the chart in a second. Again, Friday, we've got some US dollar news, CAD news as well. Ooh, okay, decent amount of US dollar news on Friday. So, this week's looking juicy. This week is looking very, very, very juicy. So let's kind of get into the currencies we're looking at. Now, again, the style of trading that I do, family, is more swing trading. So again, I'm looking at the higher time frames, and I'm going to be scaling into the lower time frames to get my entries. So first currency from this week is CADCHF. Obviously on CADCHF, we've come into this weekly level of supply. We've had a redistribution here, right? Obviously, we know supply is in control on the weekly time frame. So if we can now scale into the lower time frames, obviously we can see, okay, we've got bearish market structure, right? We can see evidence of supply, low, lower high, new lower low. So obviously the range in which we're trading in is between this high and this low here. So if we can start to scale in and find potential entries in this area, now, there's two areas what obviously we've got to pay attention to. Now, right now, I'm scaling in this level of supply here, and we have had some reactions. Now, one thing that's getting me mindful of this zone here, which I'll get into in a minute, is obviously this imbalance up here. Obviously, we've got a lot of open space up here that needs to be filled. So in order for me to take this short from this area, I'm going to want to see a few more confirmations to get in the market. So I'm going to be mindful that price could still rally up to 73600 on CADCHF, but if we start to look in on the lower time frames, we have started to distribute out of this level of supply. So this is good signs. This is good signs showing us that price may want to go lower. Now we are literally at like a make or break point right now. If this level here on the M1 time frame, if this level doesn't hold, and we haven't had a body closure yet, so what I'd want to see is price trade a little bit below here in the coming week, have some price action down here, and then pull back up into these levels of supply here. If we get this level of supply met and price starts to distribute, and we've got equal lows as well, very nice, you can see that. And price again gives us that lower time frame distribution in this level of supply here, so around 7380 on CADCHF. If it does distribute in this level of supply up here, then we could look at some very, very nice short positions. And where could we target? Well, again, this would be a very, very big swing trade. We've got some liquidity resting down here, some trendline liquidity. So, CADCHF could go and make a new lower low, and even come and tap into 0.71500. Now, like again, once we're in this trade, and if this does roll over from this specific level, again, if we get that lower time frame confirmation, I'll be very mindful of this demand zone here to see how price starts to react. But if all is well, we could actually expect this to roll over and give us another 300 plus pip move, targeting what level? Let's have a look at our final targets for this, if this does play out. So again, what we'd want to see to enter this, and this may actually happen in the next few hours, or even London or New York tomorrow. Ideally, I'd want to see New York price action. What I'd like to see now during Asia is price start to react from it, and then give us a nice continuation play during New York session tomorrow. But yeah, 0.700 would be a nice target for this. Again, it's a final swing. And let's look at that on the higher time frame. Yeah, we've got imbalance as well. So it makes sense for price to maybe even want to play into that. Again, it does have potential to come and clear weekly lower lows, but again, I don't want to kind of forecast that much into the future. For now, we just want to see this kind of level react nicely. Again, I would want to see something nice happen during New York session or London tomorrow, rather than an Asia play. I don't really like taking trades during Asia, just because there's not a lot of liquidity during that time. So that's CADCHF. If anyone has any questions, again, like, feel free to ask. Again, I am mindful that this could reaccumulate. So if this does kind of invalidate this level of supply, and if price does trade above here, then on the pullback into this level of demand, if we start to accumulate, see something like that, then again, I would buy this bad boy up to 0.73600 and then see obviously what happens at that area. And that's the thing, guys, about trading, right? You just got to honestly look at the probabilities. Like, it's not about predicting every single move. It's about creating a scenario. If you get what you want to see, then execute the trade. That's literally it. And you got to be mindful of and be open-minded to all sides. What happens if M1 doesn't close below? Then it would be a little bit less probable for me, to be honest with you, because again, when it comes to structure, I like to see body closures, because what obviously a body closure shows you, like when you see an actual body, so like again a wick, think of the storyline of price. The wick is showing us that there was a fast rejection, there was a fast reaction from this area, right? Demand, buyers were strong to push it up quickly. When you see bodies close, like as a breaker structure, it shows you that time has spent during that area, right? There was enough, let's say in this case, if we're looking at the sell position, there's enough bearish volume in the market to maintain below prior demand levels here. But obviously we have broke through it. So yeah, I mean, let's see obviously if we get this play during here. If we get kind of like, you could probably get like a 5-second distribution in this area, and we could get a nice short from there. If this does come up and it does distribute during Asia, again, I wouldn't take that during Asia. I'd want to wait to London and New York to see kind of what price action plays out. So they're the two scenarios on CADCHF. And again, you have to be mindful of both sides of the coin. Cool, CADCHF. Would you not enter off M5 zone as you had a breaker structure? What on this? No, personally not. I mean, you could, but personally not. I just want to see a little bit more of a distro occur in there, just because of, I'll show you, just because of this small liquidity capture up here. Like, yes, it's a liquidity run, but price may want to come back up higher. So I'd want to see that distribution occur in there to give me that extra confidence that price is going to drop lower, to be honest with you. And this could reaccumulate. So that's why I'm just going to be mindful. If I get that lower time frame distro in there, then during London, New York, yo, all day, bad boy is going to roll, this is going to drop, like it's going to literally take off its knickers. So we go to CADJ. CADJ, last week there was or the week before, there was a disgusting 1 to 6, almost 1 to 60 that played out. We're not going to go through that now, but maybe we can do a YouTube video for that if you guys want. Yeah, if you guys want a YouTube video breakdown on that, like that 1 to 60, let me know. We can do it. If not, then no. Everyone's like, yeah, I got you. I need to do a new YouTube video actually. It's been a minute. So okay, let's go on CADJ. Now on CADJ, we are seeing potential signs of a reaccumulation. Obviously we've had equal lows, we've had lows taken, and price has traded into a level of demand as it took those lows. Now, what I'd want to see to confirm this reaccumulation is price break above and sustain closures above the 88.400 level, right? See this red circle here, is price to come up and obviously break above here. If it does come up and break above here and we see body closures, then we could obviously expect price to come and trade into this 3-day institutional candle down here. So if it breaks above that, comes down here, and we get that accumulation, we have got an absolute monster trade to these monthly equal highs. Like, disgusting. Like, this will give you a 1 to 100 easily. Again, like, it's like 600 pips. 600 pips, even 1 to 500. You know, you get like a 2-3 pip stop loss on that, easy. So how would we and what would you want to see now? So again, long term, the higher time frames, that's the kind of model I'm looking at. We've just taken this trend line liquidity now. Of course, I'm going to be mindful if it's going to react with any supply zones in here. So kind of on more of like a intraday perspective this week, or kind of some weekly plays like this week, we do have this reaccumulation here. Now, this reaccumulation did invalidate prior supply. Oh, still supposed to be a straight line. So you haven't got to be an artist, right? So you've got to be a chartist. So anyway, right? We had this price supply zone, obviously price reacted from. Now we've obviously invalidated it. So what we can see now, obviously on our lower time frames, such as hourly, we can see a very nice reaccumulation occur. If you guys know about supply and demand induction, which obviously, if you're in the private mentorship, I'll show you guys. We can obviously see that we've had a nice reaccumulation. So this week, 87, the 87-100 level, if price comes down and gives us a lower time frame accumulation off the zone, something like this, then we can take this higher. Where would we first want to target this towards? Firstly, I'll target these highs here at 87.900. And then from there, we may pull back. But from there, we'd start looking at this kind of imbalance and this kind of supply zone at 88.50, let's just say. Yeah, now if this zone fails to hold, because we have had a 4-hour breaker structure, if this zone fails to hold, and we don't get that accumulation, then again, we'll have to monitor price as it kind of plays out. So this is kind of the immediate level I'm looking at now. Obviously, if it breaks below that, then it's most likely going to distribute and continue much lower. So yeah, going to be monitoring this level here on this reaccumulation for CADJ. Again, first target would be what, 87.895, and then obviously we'll see what happens after that for CADJ. GCHF, go to our higher time frames. Oh, sorry, let me check the chat. Yeah, everyone's like, yes. So on GCHF, weekly, we've obviously had, I don't know what this line is, but obviously we've had again, we can see weekly supplies in control. Obviously we've got, we've got very, very, very bearish market structure. We've got high, low, lower high, lower low. Obviously prices trade into this weekly supply zone, and we've started to react off it. Now, yes, that's on the weekly. Now, looking down on the daily time frame, we almost are seeing signs of a reaccumulation now, because look what's happened. Look at the storyline. We've had supply. Prices come and traded into the supply zone. Sorry, some bug just flew onto me. Indonesia, right? We've had a distribution, right? 1, 2, 3 drives to the upside. Supply is present. However, what's starting to happen now is it looks like prices started to potentially accumulate as we've broken broken back above a prior supply zone. The last area where the sellers kind of came in the market was this high, right? This high that led to this low. So now my thought process is this: if prices come up now and broken above this supply zone, it's showing us that the sellers are potentially no longer present in the market, right? And I've just seen equal highs. Oh baby. So this is just confirming everything even more. So now we're building liquidity to the upside. So think about it, right? The retail community, they're looking at this as a support level, a resistance level, right? Oh yeah, this is going to go lower. This is going to go lower. Now, on our lower time frames, what I want to see now for me to take buys on this is I want to see price come down now, capture this liquidity down here, trade into this demand zone, accumulate, break structure, and then that would be our entry. And then from there, we can target these highs. Now, after we target those highs, we can go back up to 1.300 and then see what happens at this level of supply. Now, again, this is the thing about trading, right? No one can predict the market. It could easily just break down below. That's why we wait for that accumulation. If we don't see the accumulation at that area, we don't take the trade. Again, that's all trading is. Create a scenario. If you see your scenario, play it. If not, then you sit on your hands. That's it. So, and this is the potential situation I'm looking at on GBPCHF. And then obviously once it kind of hits that level, we'll see what happens. Because I'm noticing again, like look at the supply, right? If like think how long it's been taking price to start dropping lower. You know, like of course we had supply here, and we had a very, very quick reaction, right? Now price dropped in like 3 days, it dropped 400 pips. But now over the last over the last 168 days, it's moved the biggest move it's done in the last like 168 days was 300 pips. Like the supply looks like it's slowing down. So potentially we could be reaccumulating, especially seeing this liquidity to the upside now. That looks like something that wants to be taken. And based on what liquidity, now this is a key, based on what liquidity we take first, that's going to give us the keys of where we're going to go. Now, let me break something down to you. As Wyckoff traders, we might think, okay, look, the biggest problem Wyckoff traders face is, are we accumulating or are we distributing, right? How you're going to know if we're accumulating or distributing is based on the side liquidity is taken. Write that one down. Based on the side liquidity is taken first. Think of liquidity and think of the market like this. You're a village, right? You're a village. And the market operator, which like the actual price pattern that moves, that's like a barbarian. And this barbarian, he's super greedy. And this barbarian, he wants to go around and take and loot as many villages as possible. So if we go to theory for a second, and once I break this down, you guys have some breakthroughs. Now check this out. Imagine if you've got a village here, right? A village here, a village here, a village here, a village here, and a village here, right? And now this barbarian, he goes around, he loots this first village. He loots it, he takes everything. What's he gonna do now? He's gonna go to the next village, right? Now he's looted this whole village. What's he gonna do now? He's gonna go to the next village, loot the village, loot the village, loot the village. And that is what the market does. It takes liquidity, right? That's all it's doing, is taking liquidity and rebalancing itself. So based on the direction it's manipulating, and based on the direction liquidity is being taken, and by liquidity being taken, I mean stops getting hit, that's how you're gonna know where are we accumulating or are we redistributing. Because again, what's accumulation? A manipulation of the lows followed by a breaker structure to the upside, right? What's distribution? A manipulation of the highs followed by the breaker structure to the downside. So if we manipulate these lows first, think about it, right? The barbarian, right? If the barbarian, he takes the village, he robs all the village here, he takes everyone's food, takes everyone's loot. Where's the next village? In the chat, tell me, where's the next village? Where's the next village? Where's he going to take? If he takes all the money from here, is he going to go to here where there's no fucking money? Or is he going to go to the money? You get it, right? Equal highs, there you go. There you go. Up, yes. So this is how we're going to know. If price from here rallies and takes this high first, oh, I'm shorting this bad boy. I'm shorting it. It's going lower. And that's what trading is. What liquidity is being taken. And based on direction, it takes liquidity first. That's how you're going to, all it's doing is going from liquidity to liquidity, supply to supply, demand to demand. That's all it's doing. It's just moving from zone to zone. So if, again, which I'm looking at now, if we take this low, these equal lows, accumulate, and then obviously break structure during a nice time of day, during London and New York, we can then target these equal highs. So I hope that explanation helps you guys. Cool. What have we got now? GJ. That makes so much sense. Hey, got you, man. Got you. I'm glad you got the value. Any BTC update? Yes, we'll go on to BTC later, bro. I expected your call today. Appreciate you. Someone said hello, Ahmed. Okay, here you go. I appreciate you, broski. So on GJ, cool. GJ, clapped equal lows, liquidity still resting to the upside. So potential bullish scenario for GJ. Now let me just show you kind of what I'm looking at here. We had equal lows get taken. We have had some supply obviously react, and we still have equal highs resting up here. So kind of what I'm looking at for GJ now, I'm being very, very specific with this now, is now, firstly, we could distribute from the zone. It does look like we're potentially distributing from here. So on a situation like this, it may even be worth taking the risk from here. If we kind of pull back, get that M1 distro in here, and then take this lower to mitigate off this daily demand zone. However, higher timeframes are showing me a bit of bullish intent. They are showing me a lot of bullish price action. So I wouldn't be surprised if price actually reacts off this 2-day open and actually reaccumulates and goes higher. So if it does, and again, sometimes you just got to play the risk. Because again, as like a smart money trader, all I try to do is aim for a 50% accuracy rate. I don't need 100%. I don't try to win every single trade. Like I expect if I'm taking 10 trades, at least half to be wrong. And with the risk rewards we deal with, right, minimum 1 to 10, you're good. You're very good. So again, I'm looking at a potential distribution on GJ to retrace, but I'm only going to short if I get that lower time frame distribution off 1.51400. If I don't, then I'm not interested in it. Otherwise, I'm just going to assume reaccumulation. So yeah, that's GJ. GN, I've been waiting for this bad boy for a long time, right? So we have on GN, we have had a daily, obviously a daily level of supply we broke into, right? Obviously, this was the high that led to this low. Now, obviously, as we've come into our level of supply, again, this was that distribution that caused the low. This was the cause. Obviously, now we've started to see price come back up and actually start to distribute on a lower time frame. And because again, think of the liquidity, right? It's taking liquidity from the upside, and we're still building liquidity to the downside. Again, we've got those clean equal lows. So my overall bias on the higher time frames for GN is to take this thing much lower. At least these equal lows, and then obviously we'll kind of, there's more equal lows here. I just see that. So we'll see what happens on this. It may even want to go even lower. We'll see what happens with GN. So kind of looking for entries on this now. If we go to our daily time frame, I've still got a couple levels of supply that I'm monitoring. Again, we went over these levels last week. So we've got 1.9600, and then we've obviously got 1.9, let's say 900. Obviously got those supply zones to mark up from, but looking now on the lower time frames, we are potentially redistributing. Again, we have kind of taken liquidity, and again, we're not really seeing much bullish pressure come in the market, right? Again, like we did start to accumulate, yes, but now it looks like we're starting to distribute. So this could be a redistribution in the market. So for me now to take a trade on this on an intraday basis, for me now to take, what was we looking at? So obviously had this high that broke to this low. Again, I am a bit mindful of the fact that, again, it could be accumulating again. So with GN, I'm not too keen on taking any positions this week. I mean, I've got a few levels marked up, and we do have equal lows down here. We do have trendline liquidity. So honestly, with this, I'm just going to kind of be a bit more patient and see how this plays out. Obviously, this is something I'm stalking on the higher time frame. So realistically, if we come into here and again distribute, then again we can maybe look at this coming a lot lower, maybe coming down to take this trendline liquidity. Again, if we accumulate off this zone here, then maybe we could take this even higher. But again, I'll be real, I'm not too sure on GN right now. That's why I've just kind of got a few levels marked up. I'm going to be very patient on this and let it kind of do what it wants to do. And again, I'm not eager to get in the trade. I'm not trying to hunt the market, not trying to chase the market. And the higher time frames are still looking very bearish. So ideally, the shorts would be nice. So yeah, let's be patient on this. Let's see what plays out. So again, the scenarios ideally would be to kind of invalidate this demand zone ideally, and then pull back into 1.9500, distribute, and then go lower. And then again, target those equal lows and then ride it from there. So yep, that's GN, NJ, 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 NJ. So NJ, again, if you guys were on the call last week, obviously we called out these levels last week. We have had a reaction. There just hasn't really been a nice opportunity for me to enter this market just yet, to be honest with you. But I am looking at this daily open down here at what, let's say 76900. So if price wants to come down to here, down to this daily open, and then start to accumulate down there, I'll definitely be looking for the longs, because what's happened on the kind of lower time frame now, if we just look at market cycle, this was that accumulation, this was that demand that led to this kind of break of this redistribution, break of price supply. Obviously, we've got kind of some areas up here that we want to be mindful of. And then obviously we've had a much lower time frame distribution. So what I'm looking at this now, again, cause and effect. This accumulation, it took a long time to play out. It's a lot more bigger, a lot more impactful compared to this distribution. So I'm looking at this distribution to kind of bring us down to this daily open, ideally, and then get that confirmation that demand's present. And then once, which is going to be the accumulation. Once we get that, oops, or if we get that rather, again, I don't want to tell the market what it wants to do. I'm just going to listen. Once it tells me that it's ready to buy from this level, then again, I'll take the longs on that bad boy. Target and where, again, we've got liquidity at 78, let's just say 78.775, just to round it up. And then from there, we could even go up to the 80 level, but obviously we'll have to see as time goes on. So that's what we're looking at on NJ, potential longs. Can you please check USD CAD? I haven't got anything on USD CAD, to be honest with you, but we can look at that after we kind of get through this out. So you wait until all time frames are in line with higher time frames for confirmation before taking the trade. It depends what type of trade I'm going for, broski. If I'm going for like a continuation play, I want most of my time frames to align. Again, the thing for me is mainly just getting proof of what I want to see. Like if I've got a trade idea built up and I've got a narrative to take price higher, and I'm now seeing proof that price wants to go higher by the accumulations or distributions, then I'll follow through with it. EURGBP. Again, we have had this huge distribution on the daily, weekly time frame since 2016, which everyone's been waiting to happen, but more of like on a intraday / swing basis. Obviously, we've got this kind of, obviously we're kind of in this swing here. So looking down the lower time frames, we are starting to distribute. So kind of the play on something like this now would ideally be to kind of come into maybe one of these demand zones, push up, take the equal highs, complete the distribution, come down, and then we could obviously look to short it. Again, I mean, you could take the buys. These buys would, if I do take buys on EURGBP, it would be a lot of reduced risk. Doesn't look like the best, to be honest with you. Nothing too clear on that. So again, I'm super patient on EURGBP. Super patient on this. We'll see what happens at these demand zones. Ideally, I'd want the short. I want these equal highs taken around 86,200, pop up into there, and then roll over to the downside. If we see something like that, take it from there. From India, loving your content. Sheesh, appreciate you, brother. AUDCAD. So AUDCAD looking pretty bearish. Again, if you was on the first market outlook call we did, again, we was literally giving out these levels. And if you capitalize on that, again, you'd be very healthy right now. So obviously we had our supply zone we wanted to see price trade into. It did. It distributed. I personally didn't manage to get an entry on that. But the levels are reacting. So now kind of on the lower time frames, we know supply is in control. So now it's just about finding continuation moves to take it lower. Now I'm looking at this kind of redistribution around 0.92400 on AUDCAD, 0.92400. And again, to warrant a short on this bad boy, you know the drill. Come up, wait for the distro, distribute, take it lower. Where could we take it lower? 0.9, again, these new lower lows. And yeah, we'll see what happens on this bad boy. It looks pretty prime for that. Again, maybe this week we see maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday push up, Thursday, Friday rollover. We'll see what happens on that. But AUDCAD looks good. AJ had a banger a few weeks ago. What was this, 1 to 50 or something? Yeah, 1 to 56. Absolute monster. So now on AJ, where are we? Down to the weekly. What do we see? Where's this level here? Okay, so we have this monthly demand zone. We have reacts off a monthly supply. Price has started to distribute. So let's see who's in control. Distributed. We did have redistro. We have broken above this redistro. So there's a couple levels that I'm going to be mindful of, and this is where obviously playing the probabilities comes in. Now we do have some rest and liquidity down here. I don't know if you can see that. So looking to maybe short this thing a bit lower would be quite good. So kind of the levels I'm looking at now, potentially play up into 80.500, got my alert set there. If we again get the distro, then obviously we'll start looking for the shorts much lower. Again, it's all important if we get the distribution. If we don't get the distribution, again, we don't want to be taking the trades on that. So yeah, I mean, it's looking good for the downside. At least take those equal lows, and then we'll kind of see what happens on that. Again, boom, 156. Feel free to go back test if you want. 31st of August, New York. So yeah, let's see what happens on AJ. EURNZD. So we have played into weekly supply. Have broken this structure here. So on something like this now, we have had a small accumulation. So wait a minute, let me realize this. So two scenarios I see with this that would want me to get in the market. The best scenario would pop up to 1.700, distribute a 1.700, boom, 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 and then take it lower, new lower low, come down, swoop this liquidity down here, 1.63200. Now there could be the price could be redistributing from this area here. Price could be redistributing here. So I am going to be mindful of this supply we're in here. So something like this now, I would want to see this level here get taken out. If price comes up, takes out this level of demand. So now there's nothing really. It's assume bullish price action until we get that breaker structure and then go lower. So yeah, if it breaks that structure, matter of fact, let me change my alert on this. If we kind of pop down below this M1 structure, then we could look to take this thing lower. Until then, assume bullish price action, don't get in any longs. Oh, I mean, it's any shorts. I mean, you can continue to buy it if you want, but I'm not. NCHF, we're going to look at NCHF in a minute. That's actually the next one. I'm actually bearish on this. I'm actually bearish on NCHF. Again, don't let that like take you off your bias. Again, always trust yourself. Monthly supply, monthly low. Coming down to our daily time frame, we've got rest and liquidity. We've got rest and liquidity. We've just taken on the 4 hour. We've just taken trendline liquidity. We've just taken equal highs, and we've distributed out of there. So I'm looking at this to go lower. So something like this now to warrant me shorting it. Simple pop below 0.64500. Come back up, distribute, and then take it lower. We'll get to AUDNZD. We've got that. So this red list on the right family, that's what we're going to go through. And this is all the things I'm looking at this week. So yeah, this looks pretty bearish to me. I mean, it could reaccumulate, don't get me wrong. I'm assuming bearishness until or if 65800 gets broken. If 65800 gets broken, then obviously it will accumulate. But for now, it's looking pretty bearish, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to assume bearishness. I mean, if you wanted a small trade to get in, I'm not going to force it. That's my situation. So there's NCHF, lower low, pull back, distribute, and then get in. Would you mind checking GA? Yes, when we get to yes. Okay, I'll go through pairs you guys want after. I just want to go through my watch list, and then this is what I'm looking at is the things that. So what I do every week, guys, is I look at all the currencies, and this is kind of like the ideal setups I look at, and obviously from there we'll kind of take it lower. AU, look at AU. Pardon me, AU. Take this thing lower, equal lows. This may reaccumulate though, so I want to be mindful of this reaccumulation. So like this week, pop up into the supply, 7,300, distribute. If we get this, is what I'm gonna do. Take it down to these lows. At these lows, I'll take substantial partial profits, and we'll see what happens from there. Again, if it wants to roll over and continue lower, we'll go for it. And then if it wants to accumulate and come back higher, then it can. So again, that's kind of AU for now. EA, again, had a bell R, 1 to 27. When was that? That was 1st of September. So there's equal lows are still intact on EA. And I'm waiting for these things to get taken, man. Like EA, I think this thing may roll over. It may. Oh, we've got equal lows down there. Oh, baby. Now we're cooking with grease. Yeah. Expect this motherfucker to go lower, bro. So on this now, we have reacted from this supply zone and we have distributed out of it. So now, if we want to take a small continuation play, the safest bet for this continuation play, the high risk continuation is to short it from this institutional candle straight away and go lower. High risk. The safest option would be to go much lower. So if you did just short it off that IC candle, risk less. But what I'm going to be waiting for is this low to get taken, pull back, and you know the drill. If we kept that, I'm going to be gunning for those equal lows. Right. I'm going to gun for those equal lows. Then we'll see if the trendline liquidity wants to get taken. And then we'll see if those monthly lows want to get taken. So then we've got a big 3-day level of supply and 2-week supply zone. So this should have a lot of strength behind it. This should want to roll lower. So yeah, that's kind of the zone we're looking for. Looks pretty good. Set the alerts and see what happens. EURCHF. I did take a long on this week. Went for 1 to 10 and broke me even. But potential on this now. If we get lower time frame accumulation here, it's looking a little bit weak. But if we get lower time frame accumulation at 1.08, this is basically this level here, 1.08170. If we get the accumulation, then we can maybe take this higher. But it is looking a little bit weaker, to be honest with you. Ideally, my eye is on 1.0900 to short it. So this would be a hedge if it plays out. So how I'd play this, I'd buy it, or if we get the lower time frame accum, buy it here, set my alerts to that level, take partials as we hit the level. And then if we distribute at that level, I'll take the short, leaving the buy open, leaving the sell open as well. And from there, just seeing who wants to win. And that's how you trade. You've got to play the odds. Because that way, think about it, right? If we're in profit from the buyers and the sell doesn't play out, doesn't matter. The buy is going to continue and it's going to pay you. If the sell plays out, comes down and takes you out of the buy, guess what? You still made money. And that's all trading is, guys. It's not about being right. Like, too many people are fixed up on trying to predict every move. It's really not about that. It's putting the odds in your favor, putting the probabilities in your favor, and just playing the odds and managing your risk. That's all you can do as a trader. Play the odds and manage your risk. That's it. AUDCHF. Weekly equal highs, trade into weekly demand, have broken above this. So looking at this now, again, I'm not looking to really be super hungry for trades on this now, for AUDCHF, simply because we've got this trendline liquidity above here. I will be mindful if we distribute in this area at 0.67400. If we distribute in there, then I'll take some shorts. Target these equal lows down here at 6627, and even the lower low. But again, I'm not too hungry on AUDCHF, to be honest with you. I'm super patient with this one, very strict on the distro. So yeah, we'll see what happens with AUDCHF. AN simple. I just wanted to pull up to 1.041200, let's just say. Sorry, 1.04200. And if it distributes from there, I'll take it lower. If it doesn't, then I don't want it. CHFJPY, we have come into a nice demand zone as well after a big reaccumulation. So the buys may be more favorable. The buys may be a lot more favorable. However, I am going to be mindful of this supply. So if this week you want some small trades, maybe we'll see if we accumulate in this area here. If we accumulate in this area, then we could, say our reaccumulation is valid, and we could even pop up and validate the supply zone, target this high. Again, that would be a very small trade. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, if this wants to distribute and come lower, then I'm open to that. I'm very open to that. And that's the thing. You don't want to be so like caught up on one specific thing, because there are potential equal lows here that price may want to come back down to, in this demand zone here. So if we can get a nice distribution in that level of supply, I mean, it is looking pretty strong, to be honest with you. So I just assume bullishness until price starts to actually turn around and distribute. Let it roll over, let it turn over, and then we can take the continuations, not that low, but then we can take the continuations and take it much lower. EURCAD, sorry, let me check the chat. Counter trend trading on EA. Yeah, I mean, it's more so just looking at who's in control, bro. Like I don't look at it as counter trend anymore. I look at it as just who's in control, supply or demand. If supply is in control, I'm going to sell it. Demand's in control, I'm going to buy it. You know, what do you think about pair correlation? I don't know, man. I think personally, I don't look at it like that. Like I just look at it as each currency pair's got its own factors. I mean, yes, some, like I can just tell you my experience, right? Sometimes I've said, oh, I've heard other mentors say, okay, pairs correlate. And then I'll go and combine correlations, say, okay, because this pair's going up, this pair has to go up as well. And I'll maybe buy on one pair and I don't know, say it happens on the other pair and I'll lose. So for me, I don't really have like biases like that in terms of I'm going to go to the chart and me saying, oh, because this pair's going up, this one has to do it. It's more just so like, what's the pair doing, you know? Is it accumulating? Is it distributing? Are the buyers in control or the sellers in control? Like that's it. Each currency is completely unique because it's got its own factors, right? DXY is slightly different. DXY is looking at the dollar index, and obviously, if you're like when I say pair correlations, yeah, this is different to what dollar index is. When you're looking at dollar index, you're just looking at the strength of one currency. When you look at, for example, like let's say you're looking at the indexes for currencies, right? If you look at dollar index, if the dollar is strong, that's going to affect all dollar pairs because it's got the dollar in it, right? I don't look at, for example, NZDJPY and NZDCAD and compare them like that. I would look at, okay, what is overall the New Zealand dollar doing? Or overall, what is the dollar index doing? Because overall, if the dollar index, right, is going up, that's going to mean that all USD XXX pairs will also go up. But if XXX USD, you know, GBPUSD, EUROUSD is that they're going to go down because the dollar is strong. So in terms of indexes, yeah, I'll look at them sometimes, but more time it's just the individual currency, to be honest with you. EUROCAD, we just took those highs, we just took equal highs, tapped into some supply. So now if we distribute at 1.48600, I would look to take this lower, target trendline liquidity, and see what happens from there. EUROJPY, again, we've got nice equal lows. So we're going to assume accumulation or demands in control on the lower time frames until we start to distribute. So even this week for a small trade, maybe we could pop into there, lower time frame accumulate and hedge ourselves in so that if we at 1.300, if we distribute then, obviously now we've got no risk on the table. We can obviously see if it wants to go lower. So that's kind of what I'm looking at on EJ. Again, nice targets to the downside. So this would be a very nice trade. GU, final currency I'm looking at. High time frame, took equal lows. Looks like resting to the upside. Very nice daily equal highs on this. Trade into a gap, trade into daily demand. So now the only thing that would warrant me buying this thing after this accumulation is a lower time frame accumulation to take this higher, around 1.36500. If we get the accumulation there, I'll take it higher. If not, then I'm not interested. But yeah, guys, that's what we're looking at this week for the watch list. I mean, does anyone have any questions? Does anyone want me to go back and look at any currencies or anything? Let me know. If not, we can call it a day and we can go, oh, here we go, GA. Did we go over GA? No, we haven't. I don't think there's anything on GA, to be honest. GA, what do we have on GA? What do we have on GBPAUD? Trade into this gap. To be honest with you, I mean, it has wrecked off supply, but nothing that's going to want me to look for trades on it, to be honest with you. Nothing clean. I mean, there's nothing really there that wants me to take a trade on that, to be honest with you. The moves kind of already happened. So that distro in there could have been a nice entry on that. Oh, let me do that. There could be a nice entry in there, but yeah, nothing too clean, to be honest. So yeah, the moves already happened on GA for me. ETH. Whoa. So ETH, bullish long term. See how this weekly candlestick closes? It looks like we're starting to accumulate. Looks like we've just reaccumulated, rather tapped into daily demand to take that final shakeout. So it'll be. So I'm looking at this potentially got a lot higher. Next month, I'm going to expect a lot of bullishness from crypto. So yeah. Can you please show us how you mark out your supply and demand zones? It's just institutional candles, bro. Like exactly how like all supply and demand is institutional candles. Like the way they teach it in the boot camp is literally how I mark it up. That's it. And I just mark up from the open to the 50%, and then let it play into it. Like literally just open 50%. I think it's maybe like a 3-day, 2-day, 3-day, 12-hour, I don't know, some sort of time frame. But what I'll do is I'll switch time frames to find like the most voluminous institutional candle. So let's just say on Bitcoin. Wait, make sure we're on the right broker. So on Bitcoin, right, I'm going to find the most voluminous institutional candle. So for example, if we just switch it, so obviously it's here on the daily, doesn't look too clean. Maybe go to a 2-day. Okay, it looks a little bit cleaner. 3-day, even cleaner. 4-day, okay, not so much clean. But it's just switching time frames, bro, to find the most cleanest one. That's it, just to get a bit more precise with it. And that's it. Like this last down candle that led to the up move, and then from there just switch time frames. And then just wait for my confluence. It takes a little bit of time doing this, but just waiting for that nice one. 16, 15, 14, oh, 14 hours is good. 13 hour, oh, 13 hours juicy. 12 hour, 11 hour, oh, 11 hours is good. So we can refine that to there and see the precision. So yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty good for Bitcoin now. I mean, obviously there could be lower like price action on like a week-to-week basis, day-to-day basis, but I don't know, the higher time frames, man, I'm still bullish as fuck on Bitcoin. I'm very convicted by the end of this year to be expecting way into the 6 figures. Like I'm literally just looking at prior price action and waiting for it to repeat exactly what it did in 2013. Again, look at the timeline. Broke all-time high, retraced, broke all-time high, small shakeout. Look at the months: July, August, September. End of September, we had a final shakeout. And then we went absolutely parabolic to the end of the year. Went from $93 to $1,200. Right? Broke all-time high, or crash, retrace. Again, look at the months, right? June, July, August, end of September, final crash. And in September, final crash. October, November. We'll see what happens, bro. We'll see what happens. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, so we'll see what happens in this thing, man. It's coming to demand. It looks like it's playing out nicely, but we'll see, man. You're getting a nice rejection on the weekly, so we'll see how this week wants to close up. Are you master of coin? Yes. Yes. Gold. I don't look at gold to be honest like that, bro. So USD. I got markup on it. I mean, bearish. Maybe see what happens when it comes to 1600. And then we can get some bullishness coming long term. But for me, because there's equal highs both sides of the market, it's not really like a high probable environment. I mean, of course, you could get intraday positions, but I don't know. I'm cool. I don't need to dive into this personally. But like higher time frame, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I mean, we could obviously try and force lower time frame entries and stuff, but like it's not really my style. Yeah, let me know. Obviously, Matthew, if you want me to go through that a bit more, just let me know. Can you check out UJ, and look at UJ in a minute. Whoa, what the hell is this? Let's clear this up. It looks like we're reaccumulating at the moment. We've got some liquidity up here that it may want to come to. Demand zone here. Daily's pretty bullish, obviously. Low that led to high. Do we have liquidity resting below? Oof, we do. I'll be very mindful about buying it from here. Let's look. Aha. Aha. Interesting. So, I see candle here. Now let's see if there's imbalance inside of this. Oh, there's imbalance inside of it. Okay, so let's see if, aha, okay, there we go. So I'm actually gonna little alert on this bad boy. See what happens. So yeah, I mean, if we take that low, then I'd want to buy it. Take these equal lows, accumulate, then yeah, I'd look to take this higher. What? Take this low to go even higher, but we'll see what happens. Now this will take a while to play out anyway. I mean, yeah, that's kind of what. Now, if okay, this would be absolutely the most ideal scenario. Now again, this is kind of just almost fortune telling, but if it maintains these equal highs and does this, oh my god, like I'm very convicted it will go higher. Like that is the ideal scenario. Leave equal highs, come down, take the lows, and go higher. But it looks pretty bullish on the whole on a higher time frame. But obviously, we'll have to see kind of how it wants to manifest itself. You know, there's 100 ways to skin a cat. Like, and again, like this way, you got to kind of know the type of trader you are and know your rules, because like again, I'm on the higher time frames, right? I like to wait for higher time frames. Of course, in the lower time frames, of course, you could find, you know, small scalps and intraday positions and stuff like. But I don't know. For me, it's I don't like that. Starts accumulating a higher point of interest. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really like it. I wouldn't like it to happen. But I mean, hey, if it gives me an accumulation and then accumulation in the accumulation and accumulation in the accumulation, like we're seeing the fractalness play out, then I'll still take the risk if the risk reward is justified. But like, there'd have to be a lot of confirmations for that. You know, you'd have to see like 4 accumulations inside each other. But if I don't get that, I wouldn't take it. But ideally, this is the ideal setup. Come over to 109 and then come lower. Do you recommend any books to read for institutional candles or trading styles? So Joe, honestly, bro, like most of my learning, like 95% of it has literally come from an online academy. Like the books and stuff, like they're cool, but like there's a difference between reading the book about it and actually watching someone trade live. Like I have mentors that trade live every single day, just like this, but better. And I'll plug into them every single day. It's like, hey, cool, we can read a book on how to bake a cake, right? But unless you see someone bake the cake in front of you, and unless you start baking the cake, you're never gonna learn. So for me, bro, the books are mainly for psychology. But for actual like institutional candles, my trading style, bro, I'm part of an academy. So if you want to learn more about that, you can message me and I'll show you that. You can message me on Instagram. Again, but guys, there's a lot of fake accounts going around right now. This is my only Instagram at IK Davis. I'm never going to message you first. And if you don't hear me on the phone, it's literally not me. So you can do that, or you can message me on WhatsApp, 447-9688-35403. Yeah, there's a lot of accounts going around just impersonating me. So yeah, please be mindful. EU. It wasn't too much I see on EU, to be honest with you. Like, there's not too much. Like, higher time frame a bit, I don't know, man. It's not too much. I mean, we haven't really invalidated the supply zone yet, so I don't know. For me, it wasn't too clean. GU looks like the better play, to be honest with you. This looks a lot better. So yeah, I don't know. EU, I don't know. I'm not really convicted on EU, to be honest. Like, I mean, I've got a potential narrative. I would like to see this liquidity taken, but I don't know if it's ready yet, to be honest with you.Maybe might even dip lower one more time, but yeah, I'm not 100% certain on that. There's nothing that really warrants an entry. XRP. Do I have anything on here? Oh, I do. Oh, well, I haven't looked at XRP in a long time. So yeah, super bullish on this. Probably hit $15, to be honest with you, this cycle. So yeah, I mean, had this move, this low, this high, project this out into the future. So we had what? 0.02, big boy move, take it from this accumulation. Yeah, around $14–15 roughly for XRP. And we come into a, was it monthly? Yeah, come into a monthly demand zone. I think maybe 2 week, I forget the exact one. Yeah, 2 week institutional candle. We've then accumulated out of it. We've obviously started to show some bullish pressure. So yeah, let's see if this thing is going to follow the narrative. I just got your scam account banned. I appreciate you. Make sure it wasn't the real account. Thank God. But yeah, if you did, bro, I appreciate you, my guy. US 30, sure, bro. US 30. I don't really look at indices like that, to be honest with you. Let's have a look. Jesus. So, whoa, Craig. God damn it, Craig. Craig, it's Craig. Stop annotating. God damn it, Craig. So if we come to US 30, daily, this is kind of our structure, low that led to high. So obviously quite bullish on it. On the higher time frames, swoop this low, pushing higher, then come down, had a micro accumulation. So for me now, I would like to see this kind of redistribution get fully invalidated. So price to kind of trade a little bit higher. But if we're kind of zooming in, more like an intraday basis, it'll be interesting to see how price comes into this level here at 33,400. Building liquidity to the upside. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we can kind of come into there and accumulate and go higher. Yeah. Would you put your number up for the academy? Sure, bro. It's literally plus a WhatsApp 447-9688-35403. I'll put it in the chat. 9688-35403. Yeah, and again, if you do not hear my voice, family, if you do not hear my voice, it is literally not me. Like, if you don't hear my voice, it's literally not me. If you don't get on the phone with me, yeah, it is not me. Yeah. So let's look at the chat again. Can you show into your 2 entries this past week on LTF? Not today, broski. It's getting a little bit late. But I'll do some YouTube. I've got some YouTube videos up about that, bro, on my lower time from entries, if you want to look at those. But not now, because it will take too long to go through the top-down analysis. Like, for me to teach you guys that right now, too long. It'll take too long. Like, it'll literally take me like half hour per currency. So, yeah. Unless anyone's got any other questions, then yeah, let's kill the week, man. I mean, this week's ours. Set the intention, guys. Tell yourself you're gonna crush this week. Tell yourself this week is yours, and watch how it plays out, man. Advice or tips for passing FTMO? Sure. First thing I'll tell you is this: stop looking at it as a challenge. FTMO, like, I've got respect for them. I'm not trying to talk down them. Like, they're fantastic. FTMO, I gotta be careful what I say here. When it comes to FTMO, yeah, stop looking at it like a challenge. Really stop looking at it like a challenge, bro. Because the psychology of it is, look, you're not, okay, when you're going for the FTMO account, the reason so many people fail is because they're not trading to follow their rules. The objective of trading is to trade your plan. That's it. The goal of trading is not to make money. I couldn't give 2 fucks about the money, because I don't trade for money. I trade to follow my plan and to manage my risk. And profits are a byproduct of doing so. Now, when you're trading FTMO, you're trading to pass the challenge, to prove yourself, right? You can do it and get that 10%. What are you doing? You're not trading to follow your rules and manage your risk. So my biggest tip is this: do the free trial twice. Give yourself obviously 30 days at least for both of the free trials, as in 30 days for each trial, and then just trade your plan, bro. Don't even think about it. Like, you could start trading a demo account with more capital in it to get yourself used to those higher numbers. Think it in terms of percentages as well. Don't worry so much about just trying to force the trade, and just trade from a free and clear state of mind, man. Like, that's it. Free and clear state of mind. Make sure you're in an abundant mentality. You focus on the rules, you focus on your setups and high quality trades, and don't get so beat up if you lose the trade on there, man, or if you fail it. Like, who cares? There's always another day. The market's not going anywhere, man. Like, realize this, yeah. Trading is something that is a profession. This is a profession. This is not a hobby. This is a profession. And just like other professions, such as being a doctor, right? People go to be a doctor. They go medical school for, I'm not a doctor, but what, 5 years, 6 years, maybe longer? On the first year of being a doctor, they don't expect to open their own practice. So focus on the process, focus on the skill set, and realize it's easy to get capital. Like FTMO, 10%, it's not hard. I literally passed it in 1 trade. It's not difficult once you've got the skill set. So what I'm saying is this: focus on your skill set, focus on the process, focus on actually executing high quality setups, and forget the money, forget the challenge. Just focus on your day-to-day, control what you can control, and things will start to work. US 30, yeah, got you, brother. Just found you yesterday on Trading Nut. Great stuff. I appreciate you, brother. I'm glad you enjoy the content, man. US 30 loves to form balances at 50%. FTMO traders treat it like a demo. Sheesh, come on, bro. Yeah, I don't. My rules don't really trade off imbalances, to be honest. But yeah, if you found that, bro, and that's your rules, fantastic. COT Euro this week. I don't really look at Euro pairs, to be honest with you. Euro pairs. I don't look at COT pairs. See like the commitment of tradings report. For me, it's too much thinking. I like to look at the charts. But if you trade COT, bro, that's fantastic, man. That's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, family. With that being said, I'll give you guys like 2 more minutes for questions. And if not, we'll call it a day. Anyone wants me to go through any other currencies again, just let me know. I think probably the best trade this week. CADJ looks interesting. We'll see what happens with that. What are you reading right now? I need a new book. I'm reading The Power of Now. If you're looking for a book, I'd actually recommend reading this book. Mastery by Robert Greene. Powerful book. Let's schedule a call with you, bro. Yeah, do it, man. 100%, I got you. Mastery is a very good book to start with. Don't get the small one. Make sure you get the big one. The big one, not the concise one, the big one. This is the first book I read, best book in the world. Trading in the Zone or Trading Beyond the Matrix. I don't know if you can get this as a physical book. I got this as an audio book. I guess you can get it as a physical book. Yeah, well, you can. Yeah, but I got this as a audible book. This is very good. Market Wizards is overhyped. To be honest, I'd put that pretty trash. But yeah, Trading Beyond the Matrix is insane. Trading Beyond the Zone, you have to listen to that if you haven't. And then Mastery, like, you have to read that if you haven't. That's just what I could leave you with, bro. But yeah, man, unless there's other questions, then we'll call it a day. Take care, stay abundant, reflection. Let's get it, family. I literally preached the Mastery book. Yeah, bro, Mastery is so lit. But I'm glad you guys got value. If you guys did get some value, feel free to go on your Instagram stories. I'll repost your posts, get you guys some follows as well. If you do see the fake account, please report it. This is my only account, IKDAVIS. No double Ks, no double Is. If you don't hear my voice, it's not me. So with that being said, family, thank you all for your time. I appreciate you. Let's crush this week. I'll see you all at the top, from the top, because the bottom's way too crowded, man. See you.